Hey guys, me, Mike S228, some guy, whatever you want to call me. I just uploaded a rant on another channel. If you know, you know. But I keep getting this suggestion by a bunch of people whose videos I watch to get my story out there, and I really don't remember my overall life story too well. There's a lot of stress that went on in certain areas of my life where it was like a massive delete button. I just deleted all the memories around that time. And even then, after a certain period of time, I do forget certain details about my past anyway. Um, but I feel if there's anything I can probably give my story on, it's probably YouTube. I may give a story on other aspects of my life as I go along, whether this is one long video or just a series, but I thought where I'd start telling people my story is with YouTube, with my early years of YouTube. So before 228 some guy was ever a thing, um, I had a channel called Random DOMB Ness 123. It was supposed to be a collaboration between me and a real life friend who I will keep their identity secret for now. It was supposed to be a joint channel between us, but the channel eventually just fell into my hands. Um, Over there, what I remember is uploading a lot of videos talking about topical things of the day, whatever was on my mind for that day that I wanted to convey. And I did a lot of those webcam videos. Uh, but somewhere between the time I started that channel and 2008, if I recall correctly, there was a fake friend group that I was in, and I was getting into drama with them. So eventually I deleted the channel and just laid low for a while. That brings us to 2008. We're on a vacation. I randomly started fiddling around with FL Studio on my laptop that I had at the time. To backpedal a bit, what led me to first go into checking out FL Studio was that I had seen a lot of videos on the time of Mario Paint covers. And eventually, along the way of looking at these Mario Paint covers and trying to make one myself, I found out about this program called Advanced Mario Paint Composer, I believe it was called at the time. And that was my introduction to sound fonts. So one thing led to another, and I tried using a Mario Paint sound font I had at the time for Advanced Mario Paint Composer, and I tried using it in FL Studio because at the time I had noticed, oh hey, I can drag these little things from the folders from FL Studio, and I'll play along to the pattern of a MIDI. That's really interesting. Uh, how does that work? I thought to myself. And eventually I found out I could do it with sound fonts, like the Mario Paint sound font. I think it was one of the like hard rock sound fonts. I forget who it was by at the time. But it was the Mario Paint hard rock sound font. I thought, oh wow, that's cool. And so little by little, I worked my way up and basically just, for the most part, self-taught myself FL Studio. Um, what else can I say about that? In the early years, I hadn't quite gotten which track of a MIDI would be the track for the drums down pat. So some of my earliest remixes, like my really, really early ones, they had pianos over the drums, and it just did not sound right. Clearly, I was starting out. Clearly, I was getting begun. Uh, Clearly, I was beginning with it, and I was still learning the ropes. I did try to dabble in other things like Fami Tracker and other such trackers. Could never figure them out, just like with Mario Paint Composer. Um. So yeah. Eventually we get to a point where I'm working on my skills, and early in my years of remixing, I started out with the black and white one sound fonts. And still to this day, they're some of my favorites, especially when combined with the black two and white ones. But black one and white one was where I got my start. Pokemon black one and white one. And I just found like, wow, this sound font is diverse. It has so many instruments. and that's where I learned the ropes. And a lot of my early covers had much of a different style to what you would see now from me, though I guess here and there are some similarities. But yeah, some that was very happy. It made me very happy, I should say. And around the time of 2013 to 2014 is when I felt like I was really getting into the groove of things. Somewhere within the period of the 2010s, also, I believe, is when I made my first few sound fonts that I ripped myself. I used a cracked program at the time. I forget the name of the program, sadly, it's passed me by, but I used it to rip the sound fonts, the instruments one by one individually. And that's how I made my Dawn of Sorrow sound font. Uh, Hold on, let me see which ones I have. Dawn of Sorrow, Solo Torobo, Red the Hunter, Guilty Gear DS, Dust Strikers, I believe is the full name. I ripped a few instruments from Draglade 1. I ripped a few instruments from Kingdom Hearts Recoded on the DS. Well, of course, because they're all DS sound fonts. I ripped a few instruments from The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. Some of these sound fonts were games I had already gotten very far in and knew a lot of their instruments, or even completed. In the case of Solo Robo, Red the Hunter. But other such sound fonts that I used, I just mostly like picked songs that I remembered from the games because some of them were games I never completed. So I just cherry picked whatever stood out to me as an instrument that I needed for a future Nintendo DS sound font, and that was it. That was what I went with. So, I'm not really sure when my first Nintendo DS style remix was, but early in those days, I labeled the video game remixes with the DS sound font as DS RPG style remixes, and I labeled the ones that were regular music as Nintendo DS style remixes. Somewhere along the way, I did covers of the Balloon Fight theme and the Cheetahman 2 theme, and I thought, these don't really feel RPG sounding, so I'll just label them as Nintendo DS style. And somewhere along the way, that evolved to me calling now all my Nintendo DS role playing game. I mean, Nintendo DS sound font style covers just Nintendo DS style. So that's the brief history part one. That's as much as I'm willing to record for now. That's the early history. Just a general summary. But in further episodes of this series, I may go more into my history with music and other audio-based program. Actually, no, I will continue. And other audio-based programs, and yeah, I'll go into my history about that. I'll go about my history of some YouTubers that I met along the way, and just yeah, I don't know how long this video is. I want it to be able to actually upload, so I'll leave it here. Check it out. Look out for the further episodes of this series. Bye.